Welcome to the channel. Today we explore the dark side of Hollywood, where stars who were once celebrated on the red carpet are now paying the price behind bars. They were once symbols of fame, success, and admiration from millions of fans around the world. But that halo cannot hide dark secrets forever. From shocking convictions to scandals that rocked the entertainment industry, their stories are a reminder that no one, no matter how famous, is above the law. Find out which stars are rotting in prison and what brought them to this point. Do you know any Hollywood stars who are in prison? If so, leave a 1. If not, comment a 0. Watch the whole video to understand better. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a sub to support me. Your support is a great motivation for me to continue making quality videos. For decades, Harvey Weinstein was synonymous with success in the film industry. As co-founder of Miramax and the Weinstein Company, he was known for turning a simple script into an Oscar-winning film. Actors, directors, and studios wanted to work with him. He seemed unstoppable, a visionary who shaped modern Hollywood. But behind the glitz and flashbulbs, there was a culture of fear and silence that persisted for years. That all changed in 2017 when several women, including some prominent figures in the entertainment industry, decided to speak out. Their accounts were numerous, detailed, and emotional. What began as whispers quickly turned into a global outcry that launched the Me Too movement. The event transformed Weinstein from an untouchable producer into a symbol of just punishment. In 2020, Weinstein was convicted in New York of gross misconduct and sentenced to 23 years in prison. 2 years later, in a separate trial in Los Angeles, he received an additional 16 years, bringing his total sentence to nearly 4 decades. For a man who once ruled every red carpet, the fall was devastating and sent a powerful message across the industry. No one, no matter how powerful, can escape accountability. Today, the producer who once represented Hollywood's golden age lives far from the world of fame he once dominated. His story becomes a historic turning point for the entertainment industry. It is a reminder that silence can no longer cover up wrongs, and that the truth, however late it may be, will eventually be revealed. Harvey Weinstein is no longer the author of someone else's story. He is now part of the darkest and most thought-provoking chapter in Hollywood history. For decades, R. Kelly, born Robert Sylvester Kelly, was one of the biggest names in R&B. With a generation-defining voice chart-topping hits and collaborations with music legends, he was hailed as the king of R&B. He won numerous awards, sold millions of records, and built an image of an unstoppable star. But behind the glitter and wealth, a different story was told. While he performed to packed stadiums, a disturbing pattern of behavior was quietly taking place. Over the years, many women have come forward with powerful accounts of being controlled and mistreated. The investigations revealed a long history of control and abuse of fame and influence used in devastating ways. For many, the revelations confirmed long-standing suspicions that few dared to voice. In 2021, R. Kelly was convicted in federal court of felony racketeering and racketeering. The following year, he was convicted again for his involvement in creating illegal material. In total, he served 30 years in prison, marking the end of a career once considered an icon of modern R&B. The fall was total and irreversible. R. Kelly lost his freedom, his career, and the respect of an industry that once celebrated him. Songs that were once triumphant anthems have all but disappeared from the airwaves. Today, his story is a powerful reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the responsibility that comes with fame. Once considered a musical genius, R. Kelly's legacy is now proof that talent cannot be hidden. the curtain has closed on one of the most controversial figures in music history. A sobering lesson in how our choices can completely change who we once were. For many Americans, O.J. Simpson was once a symbol of success. A record-breaking NFL star, a charismatic actor, and a beloved public figure, he seemed to have it all: talent, charm, and the admiration of millions. His radiant smile and athletic achievements made him a national icon. But in 1994, his name took on a different meaning, becoming the focus of one of the most famous and divisive cases in modern American history. After the tragic deaths of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown, and her friend Ron Goldman, suspicion quickly fell on Simpson. The chase in the white Ford Bronco was televised and became an unforgettable moment, attracting millions of viewers across the United States. The trial was also broadcast nationwide, keeping the public engrossed for months. In 1995, O.J. Simpson was acquitted of criminal charges related to the deaths of his ex-wife and her friend. However, in 1997, a civil court found him liable and ordered him to pay a large sum of money to the victim's family. Simpson's career and image were severely damaged. In 2007, he was again entangled in the law in another case involving a sports memorabilia dispute in Las Vegas. In 2008, Simpson was sentenced to 33 years in prison and served 9 years before being released on parole in 2017. Simpson was once a football star admired by the whole of America for his talent and charisma. However, legal events turned him into a controversial icon in popular culture. His journey clearly reflects the fragility of fame and the dark side of fame. From the peak of glory, he fell into a spiral of scandal and personal tragedy. Simpson's legacy is no longer confined to sports, but has become a profound cautionary tale. The public still follows his life with curiosity mixed with skepticism. The name O.J. Simpson is forever associated with the lesson of the fall and the price of fame. Have you ever heard of scandals that have ruined the careers of stars? If you have known at least one, leave the number 2, and if not, comment the number 5. I look forward to reading your opinions. Don't forget to watch the whole video and subscribe to the channel to support me to continue making more interesting videos. Danny Masterson was the heart of the laughs on That 70s Show. With his confident smile and natural charm, he became a familiar face on television, a symbol of the light-hearted humor of a bygone era. To millions of fans, he represented the innocence and fun of late 90s sitcoms. But behind the scenes, a dark reality was brewing, one that would shake Hollywood and forever change his legacy. Several brave women came forward, sharing detailed accounts of alleged misconduct that occurred during the height of Masterson's career. These accounts broke a silence that had lasted for years and sparked a new conversation about accountability in the entertainment industry. The case quickly garnered national attention as the once beloved actor faced the consequences of his long-hidden actions. In 2023, after a lengthy and closely watched trial, Masterson was convicted of serious charges and sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. The verdict marked the end of a long legal battle and the downfall of a man once beloved for bringing laughter to millions of viewers. What began as a story of success and fame ended in one of Hollywood's most closely watched trials in the past decade. Today, the name Danny Masterson means something very different than it did then. His story is a sobering reminder of the importance of truth, justice, and the courage of those who speak out. It also highlights a painful reality in the entertainment world that fame and charm can sometimes mask more serious issues. From the colorful set of a popular sitcom to the cold prison cell, Masterson's journey sends a powerful message. No matter how bright the spotlight once was, the truth always finds a way to speak. He had it all: youth, talent, and fame. Aaron Hernandez, a rising star for the New England Patriots, had just signed a multi-million-dollar contract and was expected to become an NFL legend. With his explosive play and charismatic demeanor, he was considered one of the league's brightest young players. But behind the applause and scoring, a darker reality was emerging, one filled with turmoil, secrets, and dangerous connections. In 2013, the tragic death of Odin Lloyd, a semi-professional player, rocked the sports world. As the investigation progressed, an unimaginable truth began to emerge. Aaron Hernandez was identified as the prime suspect. The evidence painted a disturbing picture, a life of fame, marred by fear, hidden anger, and decisions that forever changed fate. At his 2015 trial, the jury heard testimony about weapons-destroyed evidence and a double life that even those close to him knew nothing about. The sentence was harsh. Convicted of first-degree murder, Hernandez was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For fans and teammates, it was an unbelievable moment. How could someone with so much promise fall so quickly and so deeply? In 2017, while awaiting trial on another case in which he was later acquitted, Hernandez was found unconscious in his jail cell at the age of 27. His death brought grief and unanswered questions, adding to the mystery surrounding his life and his troubled mind. Aaron Hernandez's story remains one of the most tragic chapters in modern sports history, a story of extraordinary talent consumed by inner conflict and destructive choices. It is a powerful reminder that fame and fortune cannot heal the pain within. Ignored struggles can turn the brightest future into unforgettable tragedy. In the cage, he was known as War Machine. Marion Suge Knight Jr. was once one of the most powerful figures in the music industry. In the early 1990s, he founded Death Row Records, a label that defined West Coast rap. Under his leadership, artists like Dr. Dre and Tupac released albums that became cultural landmarks. For many fans, Death Row represented the raw truth, giving voice to the streets and struggles that mainstream America often ignored. But while Knight built a music empire, his name was always associated with fear and violence. There was talk of his gang ties and the way he used threats to get what he wanted. There were rumors that he ordered hits on rivals, and there was even suspicion that he was involved in the infamous murder of Biggie Smalls. Despite the constant controversy, Knight continued to expand his business, living as a man who believed he would never be held accountable. That changed in 2015. Near the set of Straight Outta Compton, Knight had a confrontation with Claiborne Sloan and Terry Carter. Security footage shows Knight backing his truck into Sloan, then driving forward and hitting Carter. While Sloan survived his injuries, Carter died, and the shocking footage quickly spread across social media. For many, it confirmed what they had always feared about the man behind Death Row Records. In 2018, Suge Knight accepted a plea deal. He was sentenced to 28 years in prison, 22 for voluntary manslaughter, and 6 more under California's 3 strikes law. Today, the man who once dominated West Coast rap is behind bars. His empire is long gone. His story remains a reminder that no matter how high someone rises or how terrifying he is, the law will eventually catch up. New whispers in the hip-hop community suggest that Suge Knight once plotted to attack Sean Diddy Combs in their bitter East Coast-West Coast rivalry. Some insiders claim Suge felt Diddy was meddling too deeply in Death Row's secretive business dealings, while others say it was pure jealousy over Biggie's growing fame. What do you think? Was Suge Knight protecting his empire, or just trying to ruin Diddy out of spite? Once hailed as the female Steve Jobs of Silicon Valley, Elizabeth Holmes was a promising tech icon in the late 1990s and early 2000s. She founded Theranos, a company that aimed to change the way blood is tested, and raised hundreds of millions of dollars from investors. With her serious image, black turtlenecks, and deep voice, Holmes quickly became a symbol of a new generation of entrepreneurs. But beneath the glitz was an empire of lies. Theranos's devices didn't work as advertised, and thousands of patients received false test results. Eventually, the truth was revealed, ending her tech dreams. In 2022, Holmes was sentenced to 11 years in prison for defrauding investors and conspiracy to commit fraud. She is now serving time in a federal prison away from the speaking engagements, the spotlight, and the startup world. Her image as a young genius has become a prime example of the dangers of greed and delusion. Elizabeth Holmes is no longer a tech star, but a prisoner in the biggest scandal in Silicon Valley history. Her story is a stark warning against idolizing premature success. And now Holmes is rotting behind bars, literally. For more than a decade, Jared Fogle has been a familiar face to millions of Americans, a symbol of willpower and positive change. His dramatic weight loss, more than 200 pounds, thanks to the Subway sandwich diet, made him the official spokesman for the chain. Fogle appeared in a series of commercials, spoke at schools, and was hailed as a role model for healthy living. With his friendly smile and image of ordinary people doing extraordinary things, he won the hearts of the public. However, behind that halo was a dark truth that no one expected. In 2015, things came crashing down quickly when the FBI raided Fogle's Indiana home and discovered thousands of illegal files related to minors. The investigation also revealed that he had crossed state lines for illegal meetings and had connections to illegal activities through his own charity. This information shocked the public that someone who had been an inspirational icon was the perpetrator of such serious acts. Subway immediately severed ties and deleted all image links with him. What had been the foundation of Fogle's reputation was now heavily incriminating evidence. In late 2015, Jared Fogle was sentenced to 15 years and 8 months in prison as part of a plea deal with federal prosecutors. The earliest he could be considered for release is 2029. Fogle has gone from being a sandwich hero to a symbol of the collapse of public image when personal morality fails to live up to his reputation. He is now in prison without endorsements, without the public's trust, and without a place in American popular culture. Jared Fogle's story is a poignant example of how quickly the spotlight can fade when the truth is revealed. In the early 2000s, Ian Watkins, frontman of the Welsh rock band Lost Prophets, was one of the shining icons of alternative music from Wales. With his charismatic performance style, rebellious appearance, and powerful music, he and his band captured the hearts of millions of fans around the world. Lost Prophets topped the charts, toured everywhere, and became the voice of a generation of teenagers searching for identity. Watkins was seen as the embodiment of rebellious spirit and raw emotion in music. But behind the stage and bright lights, a terrible truth was quietly unfolding. In 2012, a drug investigation led police to search Watkins's home, and what they found was beyond anything they could have imagined. They discovered digital files containing extremely serious content involving minors, along with evidence of highly criminal exploitation and solicitation. Worse, 2 women, both mothers, were found involved and subsequently convicted. The public was stunned, and fans were left in a state of shock, unable to believe their idol was behind such heinous acts. In December 2013, Ian Watkins formally pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 29 years in prison with 6 years of probation. His sentence was later extended for a prison violation. The fallout was immediate and irreversible. Lost Prophets disbanded their music, removed from platforms and playlists worldwide. Fans canceled albums, ripped up posters, and cut off all contact, a clear demonstration of the inability to separate artists from their crimes. A once celebrated legacy is now a stain that can't be erased. Ian Watkins, who once sang about the last train home, now lives a life of inescapable misery, incarcerated, forgotten, and branded with one of the darkest scandals in music history. Gary Glitter, whose real name is Paul Gadd, was one of the most famous rock and glam rock stars of the late 1970s, with hits like Rock and Roll Part 2. His music captivated millions, and he was seen as an icon of a vibrant, energetic style. However, Glitter's career was completely ruined by scandals related to sex crimes. He was convicted of multiple counts of child abuse and sexual assault in various countries. These prison sentences made him one of the most controversial and repulsive figures in the entertainment industry. Currently, Gary Glitter is still serving a prison sentence after repeated offenses and additional convictions. His once glorious career and reputation are now just dark memories overshadowed by serious crimes. From a famous rock star, he has become a symbol of complete moral and personal collapse. Glitter is clear evidence that talent cannot excuse crime, and his final days are passing in the darkness of prison, forever rotting behind bars. In the mid-1990s, Tammy Sytch became one of the most popular figures in professional wrestling. Known by her ring name Sunny, she began her career as the manager of the Body Donnas in the WWF. Her charisma, energy, and confidence quickly made her a star. At the height of her career, she was not only popular among wrestling fans, she was the most downloaded woman on AOL, transcending the ring and into popular culture. But as her fame grew, so did her personal troubles. Over the years, Sytch faced multiple arrests for driving under the influence. Her driver's license was suspended multiple times, and her behavior worried fans who had watched her rise to the top. Despite these warnings, she continued to drink and drive, creating a dangerous pattern that would eventually end in tragedy. On March 20, 2022, tragedy struck. Sytch was arrested in Florida after the car she was driving collided with another vehicle, killing 75-year-old Julian LaCosta. Tests showed alcohol and traces of marijuana in her system at the time of the accident. For many, it was heartbreaking to see someone who had inspired young women in wrestling fall to the point of causing the death of an innocent life because of her choices. In November 2023, Tammy Sytch, aka Sunny, WWE's first diva, was sentenced to 17 years in prison for drunken manslaughter. Attorney R.J. Larissa commented that her drunken driving record was horrific and that it was only a matter of time before she died. Now Sunny is behind bars, reminding everyone that fame is no excuse for dangerous behavior and that every decision has consequences no matter who you are. Remember her days of shining in the WWF. That's all in the past, right? Corey Miller, aka C-Murder, is a fierce vocalist in Southern hip-hop and the brother of rap mogul Master P. But behind his promising music career lies a dark story. In 2002, a fan named Steve Thomas was shot to death at a Louisiana nightclub, and Miller quickly became the prime suspect in the case. His controversial trial, with allegations of coerced testimony and recantations, caused a public uproar. Celebrities including Kim Kardashian and Monica have spoken out in support of his release. The court upheld the verdict, however, and C-Murder was sentenced to life in prison. He maintains his innocence to this day, but the reality is that he is now behind bars. The journey from rap royalty to prison is a testament to the cruelty of fame in the face of the law. Corey Miller's story shows how difficult it is to undo a conviction. It is also a reminder of the fragility of fame and justice in the music world and beyond. Tory Lanez is a Canadian singer and rapper who rose to fame in the mid-2010s with hits like Say It and L.A.V. He quickly became a household name in the R&B and hip-hop scene, known for his versatile style and hit-making ability. However, his career was thrown into turmoil after a 2020 shooting when rapper Megan Thee Stallion accused him of shooting her in the leg after an argument. Although Tory denied the allegations, the evidence and testimony against him were overwhelming. In 2022, he was convicted of assault with a weapon and related offenses. In 2023, Tory Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison, marking the downfall of one of the most promising artists of the new generation. Now, from a bright star, he has become a controversial and disappointing name in the entertainment industry. Many fans have turned their backs on him, while fellow artists have remained silent or criticized him publicly. Tory's music career has been completely frozen, and his public image has been almost impossible to recover. He has become a clear example of how violence and lack of emotional control can ruin everything overnight. Jen Shah is one of the standout stars of the reality show The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, which gained attention in the late 2010s, but built a popular image in the early 2020s. With her strong personality and luxurious style, she quickly became an entertainment and business icon on social media. However, in 2021, Jen Shah was arrested on charges of financial fraud related to a phone scam targeting the elderly. The case shocked the public and overshadowed her image as a luxurious housewife on television. After the trial, she was convicted and sentenced to serve a federal prison sentence. Jen Shah's imprisonment is a reminder of the serious consequences of illegal behavior, no matter how famous. From the glamorous spotlight, she now faces the cold reality behind bars. Jen's case is also a warning to many other celebrities about not being able to take advantage of fame to avoid legal responsibility. The days of luxury are now just a memory, as she has to pay the price for her wrong decisions. Jen Shah is a clear example of the story of 90s, 2000s stars rotting in prison of the new era. Michael Jace was once famous for his calm and upright police officer role in the series, The Shield, becoming a hero in the eyes of the audience. However, in real life, he committed a horrific crime that shocked the whole country. One night in May 2014, right in his own home in Los Angeles in front of his children, Jace shot and killed his wife in cold blood. The incident shocked the public, and the media continuously reported it with sensational headlines such as "TV Cop Kills Wife in Front of Children." The image of a hero on the screen was immediately replaced by the image of a cruel man in real life. Michael Jace's trial was one of the most haunting, as the details of the crime were revealed that completely changed the way he was viewed. The jury had no hesitation in sentencing him to 40 years to life in prison for murder. Jace now lives behind bars, tormented by remorse and the trauma of his brutal actions. There is no script or spotlight, only silence and the harsh reality of irreparable mistakes. His story is a reminder of the fine line between image and reality. Roman Polanski is a talented director known for his many excellent films, but his legacy has been tarnished by a serious scandal. In 1977, he was arrested for sexually assaulting a young woman. Before the trial ended, Polanski fled the United States and lived in exile for nearly 5 decades, avoiding legal punishment. Despite being internationally wanted, he continued his filmmaking career and won many prestigious awards, which caused much controversy and outrage from victims' advocacy groups. Polanski is a complex figure, a cinematic genius who is also a fugitive from justice. His story is a haunting example of how fame can go a long way in defying justice, but it cannot erase the stain of crime on history. The contrast between talent and crime makes for a profound lesson in ethics and justice in the art world. Chicago rapper Lil Reese rose to fame in the early 2010s, but has been active in the underground hip-hop scene since the late 1990s. He has collaborated with big names like Chief Keef and is known for his signature drill style. However, Lil Reese's career has been marred by violence, controversy, and legal troubles. He has been arrested multiple times for assault theft and most recently for weapons and domestic violence charges. These actions have led him to gradually slip away from the spotlight. Lil Reese is currently serving a prison sentence for serious crimes and could face years behind bars. His music career has all but stalled, and his image as a promising artist has been replaced by scandal and disappointment. He is a prime example of how fame cannot save a troubled life. Poor choices have cost him the chance to make it big in the music industry. And now Lil Reese is left with the dark echoes of his troubled past in a cold prison cell. Ricardo Medina Jr. is an American actor who rose to fame as the Red Wild Force Ranger in the Power Rangers Wild Force series in the early 2000s, becoming a fan favorite and a childhood icon. However, his career suffered a major blow in 2015 when he stabbed his roommate Joshua Sutter to death with a sword during an argument. Medina claimed he acted in self-defense, but the incident still caused a stir and completely changed his image. Initially released without charge, Medina was later charged with voluntary manslaughter and sentenced to 6 years in prison. The case shocked Power Rangers fans, as a once beloved star found himself in legal trouble. Ricardo Medina Jr. is currently serving a sentence and living a disrupted life away from the limelight and his acting career. Although he was released after about 3 years in prison, he still struggles with the consequences of his past. Medina's story is a testament to how a moment of inattention can ruin both a career and a personal life. He was once the hope of generations of audiences, but now he is a name associated with scandal and prison. It is a harsh warning to those who are on the cusp of success. Fame does not protect you from making serious mistakes. Tom Girardi, one of America's most famous lawyers, was once an icon of the legal profession with high-profile victories such as the Pacific Gas and Electric lawsuit in the movie Erin Brockovich. However, his career collapsed when it was discovered that he had embezzled more than $15 million in settlements from clients including the families of victims of the 2018 Lion Air crash. In August 2024, Girardi was convicted of wire fraud and sentenced to 87 months in prison, along with a $35,000 fine and $2.3 million in restitution to victims. Although Girardi's attorney argued that he suffered from Alzheimer's disease and was not criminally responsible, the court found him competent to stand trial. In July 2025, Girardi voluntarily entered federal prison in Los Angeles to begin serving his sentence. Girardi's story is a cautionary tale of how greed can destroy careers and reputations, turning a once respected man into a criminal condemned by society. Sean Combs, also known as Diddy, has been an icon in hip-hop music and the entertainment industry since the 1990s as a rapper, producer, and successful businessman. He is famous for many hit songs and is the owner of Bad Boy Records, helping to bring many young stars to the limelight. However, Diddy's fame and illustrious career were overshadowed when he was involved in many serious allegations of human trafficking and sexual abuse. In 2024, Diddy was arrested and convicted of conspiracy to traffic people for prostitution, shocking his fans. This was a huge shock to the public when a once-admired star fell into legal trouble. Diddy is currently serving a federal prison sentence, facing serious legal and reputational consequences. His once illustrious career has been overshadowed by serious legal and ethical violations. His story is a clear example of how fame cannot protect anyone from serious mistakes in life. Once a successful icon in music and fashion, Diddy has now become a typical image of 90s stars who are currently rotting in jail. This is also a warning to many artists about the need to maintain ethics and responsibility in all actions. Allison Mack was a famous star with the role of Chloe Sullivan on the series Smallville, a television icon for young people in the late 1990s and early 2000s. When her acting career was at its peak, few expected her to be involved with a scandalous organization called NXIVM. Here, Mack played an important role in recruiting and manipulating women to join a secret group where they were controlled both physically and mentally. In 2018, she was arrested on charges of human trafficking and organized crime conspiracy. The truth about her double life shocked the public. In 2021, Allison Mack was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison after pleading guilty and cooperating with the investigation. She was a model of intelligence and independence on screen, but off-screen she was embroiled in one of Hollywood's darkest scandals. Mack issued a public apology to her victims, admitting that she had been blinded and swept up in power. Although her sentence was commuted for her cooperation, her name will forever be associated with NXIVM. Allison Mack's story is proof that fame cannot hide serious mistakes. And from the light of television, she fell into the darkness of a life of incarceration. Remy Ma was one of the most prominent female rappers of the 2000s, emerging from the Terror Squad with the hit Lean Back. She made a strong impression with her hard-hitting rap style and sharp lyrics, quickly becoming an icon in the hip-hop world. However, her stardom faded when in 2007 Remy Ma was arrested for shooting a woman during a dispute over money. She was sentenced to 8 years in prison for assault and illegal possession of a weapon. Her rising career was completely disrupted by bad choices. Remy Ma served her sentence at Bedford Hills Prison for Women and was released in 2014 after 6 years of rehabilitation. Since her release, she has worked to reintegrate into the music industry and rebuild her image. However, her criminal past remains an indelible part of her life. Although she is no longer rotting behind bars, Remy Ma is proof that a moment of impulsiveness can destroy an entire career. She is a cautionary tale about the cost of violence and the consequences of letting emotions overwhelm reason. Darren Sharper was an NFL legend known for his stellar safety role, prestigious Super Bowl rings, and his polished and widely beloved image. He was the pride of his fans, praised by commentators as a symbol of strength, skill, and dedication on the field. However, behind that halo, there was a terrifying truth that no one expected: a ruthless predator hiding behind a perfect appearance. In a multi-state investigation, Darren Sharper was accused of masterminding a series of serious crimes, drugging and sexually assaulting multiple women in multiple locations. The scale and severity of the crimes shocked and outraged the nation. In 2016, Sharper was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison, a harsh sentence for his brutal actions. Once a primetime sports star, Sharper now lives behind bars away from the spotlight and admiration. His story is a powerful reminder that appearances do not always reflect who one is on the inside, and that even seemingly flawless heroes can hide the darkest secrets. Before he became an A-list star with blockbuster action movies and Oscar nominations, Mark Wahlberg had a dark past that few people knew about. At the age of 16, he was arrested for brutally attacking two Vietnamese men in a racially charged incident, leaving one of them partially blind. Although charged with attempted murder, Wahlberg eventually pleaded guilty to felony assault and served 45 days in jail. The incident was forgotten for years as he began building his career, but was later resurrected, forcing the public to reconsider his violent past. Although Wahlberg has repeatedly expressed deep remorse and attempted to atone through his social activism, the scars on his legacy cannot be completely erased. His story is not simply one of youthful crime, but also a rare journey of redemption and transformation. From juvenile delinquency to movie stardom, Wahlberg's life has become a symbol of the enduring debate: can people truly escape the darkness of their past? It is a question that society continues to seek an answer to. Nathaniel Glover, aka Kid Creole of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, was a pioneering hip-hop icon with a unique style and talent. However, in 2017, he was arrested for stabbing a homeless man to death in Manhattan during a confrontation that got out of hand. Although Glover claimed self-defense, prosecutors painted a more serious picture. In 2022, he was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 16 years in prison and 5 years of supervised release. From music royalty to convicted felon, Kid Creole's fall from grace has left fans in shock. Bill Cosby was one of the most beloved television icons of the 1980s and 1990s, best known for The Cosby Show and nicknamed America's Dad. He was praised not only for his acting talent, but also for his positive moral image in his roles and public life. However, that image was completely shattered when dozens of women accused him of sexual abuse over decades. In 2018, Cosby was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison for sexually assaulting Andrea Constand. This was a major turning point, marking the first time such a big star was convicted in the Me Too movement. However, in 2021, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned the conviction for due process violations, and Cosby was released after more than 2 years in prison. Despite his release, his image and reputation were permanently tarnished. Now, instead of being remembered as a television legend, Bill Cosby is often referred to as a symbol of dishonesty and abuse of power. A series of titles, contracts, and awards that were awarded to him have all been revoked. Although no longer in prison, Cosby is still a rotting star in the public eye. Julie Chrisley, star of the reality show Chrisley Knows Best, is a notable example. Once beloved by the public for her image as a gentle wife and mother in an upper-class Southern family, Julie and her husband Todd Chrisley were exposed by authorities for a massive financial fraud. The couple were sentenced in 2022. Todd received 12 years in prison, and Julie received 7 years for bank fraud, tax fraud, and obstruction of justice. The lavish lifestyle they flaunted on camera was actually built on millions of dollars in fraudulent loans and tax evasion. Inside the Kentucky prison where Julie is serving her sentence, the glamour of Hollywood has all but disappeared. Her days filming reality TV have given way to work-study sessions, strict meal times, and a lack of freedom. Julie tried to appeal and get her sentence reduced, citing poor health and a family needing her to care for their children, but the court rejected her request. Now, as she approaches old age, the former reality queen faces an uncertain future behind the four walls of a federal prison. Julie Chrisley's story is a stark reminder that lies even masked by the spotlight will eventually cost her freedom. Kris Wu, a former member of the boy band EXO, once one of the most prominent Chinese stars in Hollywood and Asia, has fallen from the peak of fame to the depths of infamy after a shocking sex scandal. Having appeared in films such as XXX Return of Xander Cage with Vin Diesel and being a brand ambassador for a series of international brands, Kris Wu is considered a symbol of success for the Hallyu Wave and Asian artists in the Western market. However, in 2021, he was arrested in China after a series of accusations of rape child abuse and luring women into sex with alcohol and fame. In November 2022, Kris Wu was officially sentenced to 13 years in prison for rape and organizing depraved parties. Unlike many Hollywood stars who can rely on their celebrity to mitigate their sentences, Kris Wu has faced a harsh legal system in China, where the fall of celebrity is often swift and unforgiving. He has been stripped of his Canadian citizenship, although the government has not confirmed it. In prison, Kris has received no special treatment, completely cut off from the media and fans. His life behind bars has been a stark contrast to his once glamorous image: no more spotlight, no more fanatical admiration, just isolation and silence. Kris Wu's case is a reminder that reputation cannot forever conceal wrongdoing. He was once the pride of the global Chinese community, a cultural bridge between East and West, but in just a few years, that image has completely collapsed. Kris Wu went from being an international star to being known only as a sex offender, serving time in China's prison system. A clear example of how one slip can ruin a career and reputation, no matter who you are. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. These stories not only expose the dark side of fame, but also emphasize an undeniable truth: every action has consequences, no matter who you are. Hollywood may be the birthplace of legends, but it is also the place that witnesses the most painful falls. If you found this video useful and want to continue exploring the dark corners behind the spotlight, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next content. See you in the next video.